Hello all and welcome to Around the Engine Bay. This is a new segment on the channel focused on automotive news, gossip, and opinions. It will in no way affect the main content of my channel, so if you're here primarily for C5 content, I will be back with new items in 2020. As a Christmas gift, I was given a subscription to Road and Track magazine. One of the two issues I received immediately featured a burnout and the announcement of the 2020 Performance Car of the Year. This is an award given by the magazine. Now, typically I don't put much credence into these types of awards, and honestly, I haven't read a Road and Track in years. I generally just look at the pictures, but why don't you say we take a peek at what car they've chosen and, holy shit, what the fuck? So it turns out that the award was given to a Veloster N. You know, Hyundai. Now, honestly, the first time I looked at this, I didn't even register that the cover car was the Veloster until an entire day later when I sat down to read the article. But it did have me asking myself how the Hyundai could beat what is quite possibly the hottest, most important redesign to come out of Detroit for a very long time. Just what in the hell happened? And to understand that, we need to talk about a theme that popped up quite a bit throughout the entire issue, not just in relation to the contest itself. Before we do that, I will have a synopsis on how the testing was performed. 11 cars were driven around Thunderhill Raceway Park before being selected for the final cut of 6. Those 6 were then taken on a drive along the winding roads of the Sierra Nevada before the editorial staff sat down and picked an award winner. As the magazine puts it, only one machine garnered rave reviews all week, painting every driver's face with a mile-wide grin. Only one gathered an almost unanimous vote. The article was very flattering of the humble Hyundai, calling it a love letter to those who enjoy performance cars. They equally praised the new C8 Corvette in many aspects, but felt that its undoing was the new dual-clutch transmission. As long as it was left in automatic mode, they felt the new transmission performed wonderfully. However, once put into manual mode, the system constantly denied downshift requests and acted too much as a nanny. They actually wished the new C8 came with a traditional standard transmission, even if it meant sacrificing that hot 0 to 60 time. However, all of this is not the point I took from the article, which, by the way, I do highly suggest you read. Just follow the link down below in the description. I took something that spoke a little bit more to my inner self. Actually, it's a theme that seemed to pop up a lot throughout the entire magazine. As a child, I was always looking for the fastest car, and it turns out that a lot of automotive journalists were doing the same. Sam Smith, editor-at-large, recalls a time he had a conversation with an automotive engineer. "We only care about performance numbers," the engineer said, "because car magazines care about performance numbers." Are you telling me that your employer would consciously make a new sports car slower than its predecessor on purpose? Yes, maybe. But first we'd have to know that the press wouldn't crucify us for it. You see, when I was a child, I cared about the fastest car, about the numbers, but I never cared or thought of how those numbers would actually make me feel. And that's how the entirety of this Road and Track issue reads. You see, PCOTY isn't a numbers game. Sports cars shouldn't be either. In the quest to build the next best performance car, the drivers are losing. Truth be told, as cars continue to reach astronomical power for power's sake, I've honestly felt as if though we're trading one thing for another, never thinking about how green our grass really is. Let's be honest, most of our cars are not being tracked. Most of our cars are sports cars to enjoy on the weekend or take to the golf course. The most performance we ever see is on the back roads. Tight corners, short sight lines, and the Mazda's accelerated bolted to the floor. Those high dollar cars couldn't use their power, and they had nowhere to run. That was the Miata's playground. You know, it's on playgrounds just like the Plumas National Forest that so many of us, including myself, like to drive our sports cars. It's not about the speed or about the lap time around the Nürburgring or the 0 to 60 that we care about. It's about the enjoyment we get from our toys. And according to Road and Track, therein lies the problem. On some level, we've traded pure driving sensation for numbers that we'll likely never use. We balked at cars that posted a slower 0 to 60 time but offered a more exhilarating drive. So we cared, perhaps too much at times, about numbers. And car makers cared back, and the gyre widened, possibly into oblivion. At the end of the day, if we want to know why Road and Track picked Hyundai over a Corvette, a Porsche, a NISMO, or a Huracan, we shouldn't look at the numbers of what a car can achieve, but at how the car will feel on our favorite back road. You know, on some level, I tend to agree with Road and Track. Should we award the Huracan, which was the fastest car around the Thunderhill Raceway, but managed to feel numb and disconnected from the road, or the Veloster N, which handles unlike any other front-wheel drive car? Should we award the C8 Corvette, whose all-new dual-clutch transmission isn't quite yet refined, or the slower Veloster N that just opted for a traditional manual? You see, the numbers will always matter, because we are hardwired to care about the numbers. But maybe, just maybe, they shouldn't. Please do yourself a big favor and either read the article from Road and Track's website, or even better, go and grab yourself a copy at the local store. There are a lot of good articles that all center around the same premise in this issue, and they're just fantastic. So tell me, what do you think? Should we care about a car's performance numbers, or should we believe what Road and Track is telling us, and it really matters more about how the car makes us feel? Also, finally, let me know if you think this new content is worth pursuing, or I should just go back to vlogging about daily driving a C5 Corvette. I will catch you on the next episode, and have a great new year.